And so most people are trying to manage all of that stuff and all of those commitments and all those would, could, should, need to, might want to, whatever. They're trying to keep that in their cognitive office, and it's a crappy office.
Ladies and gentlemen, now we are coming to some kind of a giant of personality development. For me, it's a big honor to welcome David Allen here, because David, you were one of my first heroes as a trainer, as a coach, and I remember listening to your audiobooks while I was training many years back, and I thought, okay, wow, you got to write that down. You have to do this. You have your work around getting things done is worldwide renowned, and you are, kind of the godfather of productivity. Welcome here at Greater.
Thank you, Stefan. Delighted to be here. Hello, everyone.
David, how did you come to the topic of self-productivity or of productivity at all? Did you wake up someday and say, okay, I have to get things done? Was there any personal story behind that?
No, I'm the laziest guy you ever met. So I've just always in my life said, how much easier can I make this so I don't have to work so hard or spend so much time doing this? So now they call that efficiency or process improvement. Those are sexy terms, but frankly, I was just like, how much easier can I make this? And then as my life got more complex and sophisticated, I discovered that it was pretty easy to have that disturb what I love as clear space in my head. You know, way back in my early years, I was very much into my own self-development stuff and did spiritual development, meditation stuff, martial arts, and discovered the value of a clear head. What's it like to be clear? And so I love that. And so I didn't want to give that up. But as my life got more complex, it was pretty easy to screw up clear. So I said, okay, how do I get clear about this complex world? Lots of hats, lots of things to do, more stuff coming in. How do I stay clear? And I found some great techniques that did that. As I began my own consulting practice, I found these techniques and I used them with my clients. And the techniques I found for me to help me stay clear helped everybody else. I went, wow, I think I have a key here.
So that's interesting because, excuse me, David. So most people, also I know many people that listen to us now, they have this huge to-do list in their lives. They want to do this and achieve that and have to accomplish that. And so we always focus on what we have to do. And you said what you like most is have a clear mind and not having so many things to do.
Well, not having so many things on your mind disturbing you. It's absolutely fine to have, come on, don't you like to go to a restaurant with a big menu?
Yeah.
Lots of options, right? So what's wrong with the big to-do list? Nothing. Unless you think you should do all of them all the time, then you're stressed. So the whole idea is that your head, come on, Stefan, your head's a crappy office. And so most people are trying to manage all of that stuff and all of those commitments and all those would, could, should, need to, might want to, whatever. They're trying to keep that in their cognitive office, and it's a crappy office. It was not designed to do that. Your brain did not evolve to remember, remind, prioritize, and manage relationships with more than 4 things. Cognitive science has now proven that. So as soon as you clog up your brain with all that potential stuff, you're going to be driven by latest and loudest, not by your intuitive strategic intelligence.
But isn't it something typical for our time? We have all these tasks to do. We have all our meeting structures. We have all our appointments, and we are kind of functioning automatically. And we feel stressed, and then we want to have some holiday vacation, go on vacation, and it takes a few days just to calm down.
Most people feel best about their life back pre-pandemic anyway, about a week before their vacation. Why? They're going through all their stuff. Can that wait? No, I have to do that before I go, or whatever. So they get clear so they can play golf or be on the beach or whatever. I just suggest people do that regularly, which is basically looking at all your stuff, taking a look at it from an objective, higher horizon look. And then saying that yes, that no. You can only do one thing at a time consciously.
Wow.
You can't multitasking is like chewing gum and walking. Yeah, you can do that, but the things that you have to consciously focus on, you can only focus on one thing at a time. So the whole idea is, how comfortable do you feel focusing on the one thing you're focusing on? Well, you can only feel good about what you're not doing when you know what you're not doing. And very few people listening or watching to this know everything they're not doing. I could show you in 30 seconds everything I'm not doing, because I just kept track of all that so that I can look at it and go, no, I'm going to hang out with Stefan right now. And that's it. There's nothing else going on in my psyche. There's nothing else pulling on my psyche. But if you leave stuff in there, that's not going to give you that freedom.
So that's wonderful. That's what we learn at Grader all the time, that what teachers teach us, be in the moment, be focused, and on one thing, be clear. It sounds so easy, but it is so tough, because we are all used to running, having our dates, our appointments, and then suddenly strikes something like Corona, and we are all sitting at home and saying, "Oh, what now? What now?" There's this huge nothing. How do we cope with that?
Well, what are the options for what now? Do you have that list? Do you have that menu? Most people don't. So it's banging around in their head. And that's why they feel so stressed, is because that place has no sense of past or future. It thinks you should be doing all that all the time, but you don't even know what all that is. So get the inventory, right? So my friend Nanya,
Hey,
here,
who's that?
he knows all of that. He knows what all of that is. He can see it all in a second. And then, I didn't make my choice about what to do about it.
So your choice is not just what to do, and it's more about what not to do, and to focus more on what you have to do.
Of course, or what you want to do, or what's most got your attention. See, my whole game is, how do you get present? You guys are dealing with, how do you get present? How do you get, whatever? And all, that's I learned that, when I got a black belt in karate in my 20s, about being clear in your head. When 4 people surprise you and jump you in a dark alley, you don't want 20,000 unprocessed emails hanging around your psyche. Come on, you need to be clear. You need to be clear. You need to be clear.
Yeah.
So how do you get clear? Well, you have to take all that input that you've allowed come in, make decisions about what it means, park the results at appropriate places so that some part of you is not concerned with trying to keep track of all that. That makes you clear.
And so you get used to saying, okay, this is here and this is there. They're all cleared up, the thoughts, and you force yourself not to think about things that are not important at the moment.
You don't force yourself. You don't have to.
You get used to it. You train yourself.
If you get your kitchen organized, Stefan, you don't have to worry about where your spices are. You know where they are.
Yeah, I know where
they are. You don't have to worry about where the butter is. You know where the butter is.
Yeah.
So once you make decisions about what stuff means, and then park these things in the appropriate places, you don't worry about anything. You just say, okay, it's now time to saute the whatever. Where's the butter? It's over there. And you do that. And that's the same thing with my life.
So if you order,
and yours too, if you've implemented GTD.
So if you get an order in your life, you know where things to put in your life and where to focus on the moment, you feel good. Me myself, I love cleaning up my flat, and I think we all know that feeling after we threw out old things, we feel free. You put that on a new level and you made a system out of it. Can you tell us how the system works?
Sure. I just uncovered. I didn't make it up. I just recognized what we do when you get your kitchen under control, or your desk under control, or a meeting under control, or your consciousness under control. You go through 5 steps. First of all, you identify what's not on cruise control. You capture stuff that's got your attention. Then you make decisions. Step 2, you clarify, what do those mean? Okay, that's a thing. Do I need to do something about that or not? Or is that trash, or what is it? And then once you clarify what the stuff means, then you organize the results. Hey, that's something I need to be reminded about, or that's something I need to put there so I have it when I need that spice. So step 3 is organize. So you capture, you clarify, you organize. Then you reflect. Hey, it's time to cook. Let me look at the kitchen. What are we up? Let me look at the menu. Let me look at the recipe. Okay. And then you sort of visit the reflection, kind of step up and see the larger game. And then you engage. Okay, let me pull out butter and melt it. So those 5 steps of capture, clarify, organize, reflect, and engage are how you get any situation under control and more appropriately focused. I just recognized that and then identified and made more objective what those behaviors were. Everybody knows how to do that. They all do versions of that. Very few people make that as a consistent methodology, so they keep their head clear.
And you really are a lazy person. Is that true? I mean, your life's work is amazing. You build up huge company. Your trainers are around the world. Your books were globally translated, and you're a successful business person. And we always think about it. He must be very busy. You are not. In fact, you seem to be quite relaxed.
Stefan, the last person you'd want to interview about productivity would be somebody who's into working hard, right? Because they won't have tested the frontiers I have about how do you just get stuff done with as little effort as possible. So, come on, the coolest, things that you're experiencing in life, I don't care if it's your tech gear or anything that you're doing that you think is really, really cool, were probably designed or created by people who wanted to get something done with less effort, and more class, ease, and elegance. End of story. So it's funny, it's the IT people who've really taken to my methodology because they're the laziest people in the world, though they work harder than anybody else to make everybody else's life easier. Kind of funny about the IT world. But that's true, right? Efficiency is really the only game, guys. People say, no, you need to be effective. Effective at what? So if you haven't defined the what, in terms you want to be effective at, your life purpose, your vision of where you want to be 5 years from now, the things you need to accomplish over the next 12 to 24 months, the things you need to maintain to keep at some level of standard. If you haven't clarified those things, if you have, then how efficiently can you make sure that those things are being fulfilled or managed or manifested appropriately? So in a way, it's all about efficiency. So it can get pretty subtle. Well, how well are you doing, Stefan, in terms of your life purpose and fulfilling that with wild success? That's just an efficiency question because you're the one who has the answer to what you're trying to do. My thing is, how much more easily can you do it?
How much more easily can you do that? And of course, you started also your first points with capture. And then, by the way, it's about basically throwing away things you don't need, thoughts you don't need, and don't feel distracted by all this noise in our lives. And this, again, leads to the question, what is the purpose of life? What do you want to accomplish? How can you find that? Do you have any techniques how people can find what they really want?
Yeah, sit down, be quiet, listen. There's a still small voice inside of you that has that answer. So depending on how mature you are in listening to that voice and quieting all the rest of the stuff so you can pay attention to it and making a decision about where's that voice coming from, because the voices come from a lot of different places. One voice could be, I'm hungry. Another voice could be, gee, I want that girl, that boy. Another voice could be, yeah, and here's what really matters to me in terms of my life. So learning to discriminate or to discern which voice is coming from where, and then getting clear about, what is that voice? And then what do I need to do to sort of line myself up with what the message is?
For people like me who are, self-employed and try to do their things in life, it was really a big help because especially when you start doing your things, you have all these huge to-do lists, you have all these coulds, woulds, shoulds and have tos. And for me, it was very clearing to understand that I can do one thing at a time. The first, second, third. That was very, very helpful. Why do we feel the urge to do everything at the same time so often?
Because you're keeping reminders of it in your head that has no sense of past or future. I need cat food. If you have a cat and you need cat food, you can wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go, oh my God, I need cat food. But you can't go buy cat food then. So your brain actually doesn't have one. Your brain is actually kind of stupid. Your brain, if your brain had a brain, it would only remind you of what you need to do when you could do something about it. Everybody listening or watching this probably has something that has dead batteries somewhere or a dead light bulb somewhere. Well, where do you think you're reminded that you need a new battery or a new light bulb, where the dead ones are. That's kind of stupid. If your brain had any intelligence at all in itself, it would only remind you of batteries when you pass the right size live ones in stores.
But it's funny,
So,
if you clean up your house, or you put in repair the light bulbs, and after you did that, you feel relieved. After you did that,
of course.
it's like your brain always is obsessed with all these things that don't function right now. And you, even if you do not think about it.
Basically, it's not obsession so much as there's a part of our psyche that starts to spin a spin when you have something that's incomplete. So it's the incompletions that are the problem and the opportunity. So, wow, I need that light bulb. Well, it's at 2:00 in the morning. You're probably not going to go find that light bulb somewhere there. But if you put that on some sort of a list somewhere, so that some part of you says, when I go out, I'll find this kind of light bulb at this wattage or this whatever. And you've already got that somewhere that you trust you'll see when you go out where you might find light bulbs. It's off your mind. But if you don't do that, that stuff spins internally, and there's no time, past or future in there. It's just called present. So that's why most people are feeling like they need to be doing something about everything they've got any commitment about, which is not smart.
Okay, it's not smart. And we have, I compare it to open loops. The more open loops we have in our brain and our mind, the more often we feel disturbed and feel stressed to close the loops. So for most people, it's kind of a revelation to understand: do less. Do less, or do not get yourself stressed by some external dates, some external interventions of your life. You don't need to answer the phone just because the phone is ringing.
Well, if you want to be most effective in hitting a golf ball or writing a business plan or firing somebody, you need to be present. So whatever you need to do to get rid of all the other stuff that might be in your head, as opposed to those things when you're trying to do those kinds of activities, is going to make you more productive, more effective, more relaxed, more focused, all that good stuff. So the whole idea is to get that inventory clear, and then to make sure that when you make a choice about what you do, you're present with that. This doesn't make life fun, or easy. Come on, you don't have to like your life to get it off your mind. But I'm suggesting get it off your mind so that your mind is clear to do what it's really designed to do, which is do intelligent, intuitive, strategic thinking about what you should be doing. But most people have so clogged up that process, they're not clear to do that. Mm-hmm. And all I did was figure out the algorithm about how do I get this stuff clear so that my head's clear, mm-hmm. so I can make a good choice about all my options.
Mm-hmm. So how do you translate your system into companies? How do companies profit from what you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're potentially going to write a book about that, because essentially this is a technique and a process that starts with the individual. The individual needs to be accountable to manage, his or her actions about what they do, about their commitments. And once they start to handle that starts to affect everybody around them. It sort of moves up the food chain. Because if you start to implement these best practices of capturing, clarifying, organizing, reflecting, and seeing all your stuff, it starts to affect every single interaction you have with anybody out there, all of your intersections. So anybody listening or watching this, think about the intersections you have. Your life partner, your partner in business, your direct reports, your boss, your peers, I don't know, anybody on your committees, anywhere, everybody you intersect with. When you get really clear about, hey, by the way, is this mine or yours? What's the next action? Should I take that? And by the way, when do we need this? When you start to get real pristine, if you will, and intelligent and rigorous about managing your own commitments in your engagement with people, watch what happens around you. And of course, the techniques, if I walked into your team, I don't know, Stefan, you probably got a team around you around there. If I walked in there, I'd go, okay, guys, let's all get together. The first question I have is, what's got the team's attention? Right? What's not on cruise control for your team right now? That's all we're going to do. And we're going to go up to a whiteboard or somewhere and write all that down. Then we're going to go, great. What is that? And what do you need to do about that? Is that something you're going to do something about? Is something you're committed to do? Great. What's the outcome you're after? Great. Fabulous. What's the project? Who owns it? Right? And by the way, what's the next action on this? So GTD, my stuff is not some sort of a religion. Everybody thinks it's kind of a cult because of how many people sort of bought into it. But I'm sorry, this is just good business. It's like outcome and action. Those are the zeros and ones of productivity thinking. But most people haven't really embedded that or installed that yet as a constant sort of thought process.
So it's always about sharpening the frame of what you do and sharpening the goals and sharpening why you have to do that. And then things get very easy because you do not have to do a lot of other stuff. I have one question, a personal question. I know many people who just feel alive when they have a lot of distraction, a lot of people to talk with, a lot of personal connection, and they feel, well, yeah, just alive when they have to do that. And if you tell them just calm down, focus, it's like you put off the switch on them. They just they implode. They kind of implode and say, "Give me some action." What do you tell these people?
I say, hey, are you clear about what you're doing and you're fine with that? Then I'm done. I have nothing else to tell them as long as they're clear. As long as they can be totally present with whatever they choose to do out of all those options that they've got in front of them. Let's go, fine, cool. Let's move on. Get to a no as fast as you can. Called, you don't need me. You're fine. But as soon as you have a distraction, as soon as you say, that may not be the thing I need to do, or wow, I'm so stressed out about what I'm not doing, and I'm doing this as a way to avoid all that other stuff, then you have an issue.
So many
with yourself, not with me, but with yourself.
But many of these people feel chaos in their life. On the one hand, they feel quite happy, and on the other hand, there's chaos here, chaos in relationship, chaos at work, chaos with the customers, and have a lot of things to do, and always cleaning up the yesterday and have to work tomorrow, and that's always too much. For them, in my experience, is a quite hard to reflect and to say no. Is this just a training question or what?
No. The answer to that is very simple, Stefan. Get older.
But if you cannot get older and you have to get your things
you can't stop getting older.
Yeah.
You can't
Okay,
stop
all right.
getting older. It's happening. It's happening. Come on. I'm 75. So, but again, being present and being clear does not mean having a quiet, simple life. You can be very present skiing down a major slope. You can be very present. As a matter of fact, that's a whole lot of what the flow state is. If you get the whole flow idea, it's not about being easy or being simple or being quiet. It's about being appropriately engaged with what you're engaged in. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with having total chaos around you. It's like whatever. I think Paul Smith, the great designer in London, he keeps all kinds of crap around his office just because he loves the spin of all the little toys and all the things. Gives him creative ideas. Nothing absolutely wrong with that. So it's not about so much eliminating things in your life. It's about eliminating the distractions in your life. And you don't have to be distracted with a lot of stuff around you that you're engaged in and have fun playing with. There's no reason for that to be a distraction.
So if it inspires you, it's okay. If it makes you creative and your goal in life is to be creative, then it's okay to be kind of distracted or inspired. But on the other hand, if not, ask yourself if it is a distraction or not. This is the main point.
I'm not the keeper of the okay or not okay. That's up to people to themselves decide.
So I had a very successful boss once. It was amazing. His whole desk was just books and books and books and paper and paper and paper and paper. And I nobody understood how he ever had any kind of system in there. And he was in fact very productive, writing one book after the next and one book. And he was kind of like on a huge trip through his life, and for him it seemed to work, but I met nobody else who was working like that.
Well, it's up to the individual. Some people can, some people can't. Mm-hmm. So people have to decide themselves. Hey, am I able to be clear tucking my kids into bed tonight? Am I able to be totally free to cook spaghetti and have nothing else on my mind? Am I totally clear to be watching my girl play football or soccer without being on my iPhone? I mean, I'm a freedom guy, Stefan. Come on. I came up to all this. People go, God, David, you must be so anal and organized or whatever. I go, come on, if you meet me, you're going to meet one of the craziest people you ever met. I love being spontaneous and follow my, intuitive hunches to do whatever I want to do. I plan as long as I get by with. The reason I came up with this methodology is so it gave me the freedom to do that.
And your life too is, changed a lot, and you moved to Europe, in fact, a few years back. You lived in Ojai, California. It's a beautiful city. For those who do not know, just Google it. Ojai is written Ojai. And I've been there 2 years ago, and I thought about moving there because it's such a wonderful place. And you moved to Europe. Why? And why especially to Amsterdam?
Lots of reasons. First of all, we wanted to get out of the U.S. Americans and U.S. people are so mono-focused in the U.S. And, my wife and I consider ourselves much more global people, and we just kind of wanted to get out of that constraint. And we saw people a little older than us that were looking at a lot more sedentary than we felt comfortable being. We don't have kids, and my work was becoming more and more virtual, so I could do it pretty much from anywhere as long as I was near the airport. So we said, Europe. We would have gone to Kyoto because we love Japan, but that's just too far away from everywhere in terms of what I'm doing. So we said, okay, so we looked around. We'd been to Amsterdam a couple of times. We loved it, loved the city. We said, it's foreign enough to be an adventure, because it's not London. It's not everybody speaks English, but everybody here speaks English. So, so that made it easy.
So did you learn Dutch in the meantime?
I'm in the process.
All right. So you went to Amsterdam, and if you know Ojai, which is a beautiful space, cool
Sure.
houses, everything is green, and it's a very special magic place. And then you are in Amsterdam. I love Amsterdam as well, but that's different. All these many people in the streets, so much life in the streets. Do you live in a house nearby or somewhere in the center of Amsterdam? So
No, we have an apartment. We're in our third apartment. We kind of moved out from the center as we started to discover how to get around the city more to sort of a quieter, gentler sort of neighborhood. So but we're still close. I'm a 10-minute bike ride to the center of the city. I'm an 8-minute walk to the train station where I can get to Schiphol, the airport, in about 20 minutes and check in, assuming planes are going again. So it's absolutely. Actually, it's a terrible place. Stay away. Nobody should come. It's dirty. It's unsafe. Go away.
So what do you?
No. We love Amsterdam. So we just fell in love with the city. We didn't know how long we'd stay, but we fell in love with it. So we said, okay, let's stick around. So that's what we're doing.
So you followed one of your hunches, one of your ideas, of your freedom ideas and came here. All right, dear Alan, it was a great pleasure. We have 50 seconds left. Is there any main message you want to share with the greater community?
Your head's for having ideas, not for holding them. And we're attempting to create a world where there are no problems, only projects.
Wow. How often do you do these video conferences?
Probably 2 or 3 a week.
2 or 3 a week. All right. Is there any Corona tip for the last 20 seconds? What to do alone at home for the next weeks?
Relax, take a breath, and make sure you've got a great environment that you sit in that inspires you and gets you focused on creative work.
Wonderful. Thank you. That was the best last words we had, I think, the whole week. Let's do exactly that. Thank you, David Allen. Thank you. Hope I'll be seeing you soon. I think I will be seeing you soon. Thanks a lot.
Stefan, we'll see you soon. Yes, we will.
Bye.
Bye.